What happens when you trust heavy machinery to idiots? That's right, real madness ensues. I've gathered the most incredible footage for you, from blazing mining dump trucks to tower cranes crashing down due to human error. And I've saved the most unbelievable for last, so I suggest you watch until the end. Let's start with a bang. Look at this chaos. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Mobile cranes are used for lifting and moving heavy loads, and their safety directly depends on proper balancing and counterweight placement. Unfortunately, sometimes you encounter idiots who are too lazy to calculate everything properly. Without these precautions, a crane can easily tip over, leading to serious accidents, equipment damage, and even human casualties. The key reason why mobile cranes need balancing is that they lift loads weighing tens or even hundreds of tons. If the crane's center of gravity shifts due to improper weight distribution, there's a risk of losing stability. The higher the load is lifted, the more this shift affects the crane's stability. If the crane is not balanced, it can lose balance and tip over, even with a relatively small incline. And there are plenty of examples of this. Transporting a massive 400-ton crane, as seen in the video from Venezuela, is an extremely complex and dangerous task. The process went smoothly until the tow truck started descending a small hill. At this critical moment, the driver suddenly lost control, turning the towing operation into an uncontrollable slalom. Such operations require maximum precision and attention because any mistake can lead to serious consequences. Fortunately, in this case, none of the workers were injured, which is rare in such situations given the scale and weight of the transported object. However, additional equipment, including another crane, will be needed to rectify the incident and restore order at the scene. This incident highlights the importance of thorough planning and adherence to safety measures when carrying out such operations. Here's a clear example of when safety protocols were violated. Don't worry, the driver wasn't injured. What was violated here? First, a thorough assessment of the stability of the rock formations and monitoring their condition, which is the foundation of safety. Regular geological surveys and crack monitoring allow predicting potential collapses and taking timely measures to prevent such events. Second, the organization of work on the site should consider the risks of rock falls. It is essential to strictly observe the minimum distances between equipment and hazardous zones where collapses are possible. In these zones, special barriers and nets should be installed to catch falling rocks. These protective structures reduce the likelihood of equipment damage and minimize risks to people. Unfortunately, in this case, they decided to cut corners. No structures, no forecasts, just hoping that everything would be fine. Accidents in quarries related to unloading material can happen for various reasons, and one such incident involved material getting stuck in a dump truck bed, almost causing it to tip over. This case highlights the importance of following all safety rules when working with heavy machinery and loads. This happened at a large quarry where the dump truck was loaded with heavy rock. The truck drove to the unloading site, and the operator began the process of tipping the bed to dump the load. However, the material was somehow tightly compacted and did not start falling out immediately. The driver raised the bed higher, but that didn't help. The material remained in place, creating a critical situation. As the bed was raised further, the truck's center of gravity began to shift, and the dump truck started to dangerously tilt to one side. The operator realized the truck was on the verge of tipping over. Trying to stabilize the situation, he began lowering the bed, but sudden movements only worsened the problem. The truck tilted even more. Only the quick intervention of other quarry workers, who noticed the danger, helped prevent a tragedy. They used other equipment to stabilize the dump truck and prevent it from falling. It looks epic. In the footage shown, you can see the routine operation of the top drive of a drilling rig, which ensures the rotation of the pipe string during the well drilling process. Initially, everything proceeds as expected, and the equipment operator seems calm. However, the situation quickly changes when intense vibration begins, and then the top drive suddenly fails and collapses. This incident may be related to the wear and tear of the cables that supported the mechanism. It's a vivid illustration of how quickly events can escalate, leading to accidents even during seemingly routine operations. Despite the apparent routine nature of these tasks, such work requires constant attention and monitoring of equipment conditions to avoid similar accidents. What about fire? Preventing overheating and fires in heavy equipment is one of the key tasks for ensuring safety at construction and industrial sites. Heavy equipment like excavators, bulldozers, loaders, and cranes operate in harsh conditions, making them susceptible to overheating. Failure to follow safety precautions can lead to serious accidents, including equipment fires, which can cause significant damage and even threaten the lives of workers. First and foremost, it is essential to perform regular maintenance, which includes checking the cooling system, replacing coolant, cleaning radiators, and monitoring oil levels. A lack of oil or dirty radiators can cause the engine to overheat. Modern heavy equipment is equipped with sensors and monitoring systems that allow the operator to control the temperature of the engine and other critical components. It is important to monitor these systems and respond promptly to warnings about overheating. If the engine temperature exceeds the norm, the equipment must be stopped and allowed to cool down before continuing work. The weight ratio during crane lifting is one of the most important aspects of safety and efficiency at construction and industrial sites. Every crane has a specific lifting capacity, which indicates the maximum weight it can safely lift. Exceeding this limit can lead to serious consequences, including crane damage, loss of the load, and even a collapse of the structure, posing a threat to life and health. This is exactly what happened in this case. Someone simply miscalculated the boom length and the weight of the tractor they were trying to quickly lift out of a pit. It ended badly, but fortunately, there were no casualties. But sometimes the mistakes can be more global. Dismantling bridges using machinery is a complex multi-stage process that requires careful planning and strict adherence to safety measures. Engineers and designers carefully study the bridge's structure to determine the best way to dismantle it. It's important to consider the load on different elements of the bridge and the sequence of actions to avoid a sudden collapse. Unfortunately, some people act on a whim, hoping everything will be fine. The driver of this excavator decided to eyeball the fall trajectory of the bridge span, but forgot about the size of his equipment. Fortunately, the cab was strong enough and designed for such an outcome, so the driver was not injured. A tower crane is a complex and massive structure designed to lift and move heavy loads at great heights. Despite its stability and strength, it can fall for a variety of reasons. The main ones include installation errors, unfavorable weather conditions, overloading, and human error. One of the key reasons for a tower crane's collapse is mistakes during its installation. If the crane is improperly secured to its base or its sections are installed with technical violations, it can lead to a loss of structural stability. For example, uneven load distribution on the supports or insufficient anchoring of bolts can cause the crane to gradually shift, eventually leading to its collapse. That's what happened in this case, but fortunately, the technician who noticed the problem in time was unharmed. But it's not just human negligence and inattentiveness that can bring down equipment. Unfavorable weather conditions also pose a serious threat to the stability of a tower crane. Strong winds, especially gusty ones, can create critical loads on the crane's boom and tower, leading to deformation or tipping. In regions with frequent storms or hurricanes, cranes should be equipped with special sensors that warn operators when load limits are exceeded. However, in my humble opinion, engineers should anticipate such scenarios in advance, just like in the video. Can you imagine what would happen if such equipment fell on a residential building? Now take a look at these geniuses of loading. I wonder if they unloaded the excavator the same way. In general, the process of loading heavy machinery onto a trailer and transporting it requires special attention to safety and thorough planning. This is especially important when transporting large construction, agricultural, or industrial equipment that can weigh several tons. The entire process can be divided into several key stages. Before loading, It's necessary to ensure that both the machinery and the trailer are in proper working condition. The equipment should be thoroughly inspected for damage, leaks, and other potential issues that could complicate loading or transportation. The trailer also undergoes an inspection. Its load capacity, axle condition, tires, and braking system are checked. But let's be honest, who actually does this? Transporting heavy equipment across a river is a complex task that requires careful planning and strict adherence to all safety measures. Depending on the width and depth of the river, as well as the available infrastructure, various methods can be used, such as crossing a bridge, using a ferry, or setting up a temporary pontoon crossing. Unfortunately, the geniuses in this footage decided to ford the river using their own unique method. Why bother setting up pontoons or looking for a ferry? We'll just swim across. The outcome of their attempt is left to the imagination, but there are plenty of similar river crossing incidents online. During the dismantling of workshop equipment, an accident occurred due to a crane operator's mistake. He incorrectly assessed the relationship between the crane's boom reach and the weight of the load he was working with. As a result, his mobile crane was even forced to stand on its rear outriggers, which is an extremely dangerous maneuver. The crane operator quickly exited the cab, realizing the risk involved. Although the situation didn't go as planned, it's important to note that the load was successfully lowered to the ground in the end. This incident underscores the importance of precise calculations and strict adherence to technical parameters when working with lifting equipment to avoid accidents and ensure workplace safety. Have you ever seen truly giant machinery on fire? BELAZ trucks are gigantic mining dump trucks that are impressive in their size and power. These machines, weighing hundreds of tons, are designed to transport enormous amounts of rock and quarries. With a height comparable to a two-story house and wheels the size of a bus, BELAZ trucks are awe-inspiring in their scale and strength. They can carry over 400 tons of cargo in a single trip, making them indispensable in the mining industry. These engineering monsters symbolize the power and grandeur of human ingenuity, remaining the largest dump trucks in the world. It's a shame that they're often serviced by idiots who don't properly maintain the equipment, letting it deteriorate to this point. Quarry bulldozers are essential for performing heavy earth-moving tasks in quarries. They are used for leveling the ground, removing rock, creating roads, and preparing sites for mineral extraction. Thanks to their powerful design and massive weight, bulldozers are capable of operating in the most challenging conditions, moving large volumes of soil and materials, ensuring efficient and safe work at mining sites. But sometimes drivers overestimate their abilities. This one decided to remove a huge piece of rock without calculating his capabilities. The result? The rock won. Accidents on construction sites and in quarries are unfortunately not uncommon, and one such incident involves an excavator sliding down a hill due to a sudden landslide. These kinds of events often happen unexpectedly, leaving minimal chances for rescue. It's important to understand the causes of such accidents and take preventive measures. When an excavator operates on a slope or in unstable soil conditions, there is a constant risk that the ground beneath the machine will start to shift. This can happen for various reasons: excessive pressure on the soil, worsening weather conditions like heavy rain, or the initially unstable condition of the ground. Once the ground starts to collapse, it can drag the heavy equipment with it, even if the operator tries to quickly stop work and move the machine to a safer location. Although such a descent might look amusing, the driver is probably not smiling at that moment. An overloaded dump truck driving through city streets can cause a serious accident, especially if the road is not designed to support such a heavy vehicle. But who even looks at those signs, right? One such incident occurred when an overloaded dump truck literally sank into the asphalt because the road couldn't withstand its weight. It all started when the dump truck, carrying construction materials, entered a city street. The truck was loaded significantly beyond its technical specifications. In an urban setting, where roads are designed for cars and standard trucks, not heavy quarry equipment, this was a critical mistake. As the dump truck continued along its route, the asphalt beneath it began to crack. Since the road wasn't built to handle such a load, small cracks appeared at first, and then the asphalt suddenly gave way. The massive weight of the truck crushed the road surface, causing the vehicle to partially sink into the ground. The front wheels of the dump truck ended up in a hole, tilting the vehicle forward and creating a risk of it completely overturning. This incident immediately caused panic among onlookers, and emergency services were called to the scene. The driver managed to exit the cab without injury, but the vehicle itself was severely damaged. Additionally, the city's infrastructure suffered. The section of the road was completely destroyed, and underground utilities like pipes and cables were seriously damaged. What do you think? Should people be held accountable for such negligence? I would definitely impose penalties, as other people could get hurt. Be sure to share your opinion in the comments and give a like if you want to see a second part. And yes, if you love machinery, know how to write interesting scripts, edit, or voice videos, then join the Telegram bot via the link in the description. I'd be happy to collaborate. Thanks for watching, friends.